Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel for our daily dose of Genoa City chaos. Today is a beautiful day, but we have a mountain of drama to deal with. So, let's brew a strong cup of coffee, sit down, and dive straight into the mess unfolding in the Abbott family. What's going on with Abbott? Jack seems blind to Patty's psychological manipulation, making things worse than ever. So let's just get right into it, because things are getting incredibly messy over at the Genoa City Athletic Club, and honestly, it is hard to watch. Jack Abbott is just spiraling. He is a man completely broken by his own actions, even if those actions were heavily manipulated by Victor Newman. We all know the backstory, the yacht, the kidnapping, the insane return of Patty Williams, but knowing the context doesn't make the reality any easier for Diane Jenkins Abbott. She is hurting deeply. And Jack decides that the GCAC is the perfect place to try and fix a shattered marriage, which, let's be real, is a terrible idea. Public apologies rarely work in this town, but Jack is desperate. He sees Diane, he approaches her, and you can just feel the chill in the air. Diane is basically a block of ice right now, and who can blame her? And Jack starts in with the apologies. Again, he is just a broken record of regret at this point. He wants to make it right. He wants to fix the unfixable, but then he makes a massive tactical error. Because Jack is Jack, he points out that they cannot let Victor Newman win. He literally tries to use their mutual hatred of Victor as a bonding tool to save their marriage, which is just wild. Because Diane does not care about Victor's scorecard right now, she cares about the fact that her husband was in bed with another woman. So Diane just snaps. She absolutely loses it on him. She throws the whole Patty Williams thing right back in his face, because it was Jack who slept with Patty, not Victor. Victor set the stage, sure, but Jack was the main actor. And Diane is not letting him forget it, not for a single second. But Jack tries to defend himself, sort of. He admits the truth. He admits he was drugged. He acknowledges that the drugs completely warped his reality and made him do things he would never normally do, especially not with Patty Williams of all people. But the guilt is still eating him alive. He regrets his mistake. He regrets the massive amount of pain he has caused Diane. He is standing there, practically begging, saying he will do absolutely anything to earn her forgiveness. Anything at all. Just name the price. But Diane is having none of it. She is just too angry. The wound is too fresh. You can't just slap a band-aid on a betrayal like this, even a drug betrayal. Because the visual of Jack and Patty is burned into her brain, and Patty is still running around town taunting her about it, so Diane just shuts him down, hard. And then, right in the middle of this incredibly painful, incredibly awkward standoff, Kyle Abbott shows up, just completely unannounced, walking into the GCAC looking for his mom, hoping to grab some dinner. And he walks right into a war zone. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a butter knife. Kyle sees his parents. He sees the absolute devastation on his mother's face. He sees the pathetic desperation on his father's face. And Jack suddenly realizes that he is entirely unwelcome. He is the intruder in his own family. He looks at Kyle. He looks at Diane. And he just assumes that asking to join them for dinner is a completely useless question. He knows the answer before the words even leave his mouth, and Diane doesn't even hesitate. She just confirms it. Yes, Jack, it is useless. You are not eating with us. So Jack does the only thing he can do. He leaves. He tucks his tail between his legs and walks out of the GCC, leaving Diane and Kyle alone, and Kyle sits down, trying to salvage some sort of normal evening with his mother. But Kyle is not just a son. He is a peacemaker. He is a kid who desperately wants his family back together. So as soon as Jack is out of earshot, Kyle starts in. He points out the obvious. He tells Diane that she cannot just avoid his dad forever. They live in the same town. They work at the same company. They share a son. They share a grandson. Avoidance is not a long-term strategy. But Diane is defensive. She is raw. And the mention of work triggers a whole new wave of anxiety for her. A totally different kind of panic. Because the conversation inevitably shifts to Jabot, the family business, the place where Jack is the ultimate boss, and Diane starts spiraling. She starts wondering about her own position, her own security. She is facing these massive fears that she might actually get kicked out of Jabot because of all this mess, because Jack was manipulated by Patty, because their marriage is falling apart. Diane starts connecting dots in her head, paranoia creeping in. She looks at Carl, her son, but also her co-CEO. And she asks the question that has been eating at her. Is he hinting at something? Is Carl implying that if she doesn't cooperate, if she doesn't fix this mess with Jack, she will be fired? Will she lose her job if she refuses to take her cheating husband back? It is a dark thought, but in the corporate world of Genoa City, it is not an impossible one. But Carl immediately shuts that down. He is actually horrified that she would even think that. He backpedals so fast. He reassures Diane that he absolutely did not mean that. No one is firing her. Jabot needs her. She is a crucial part of the company. He is just trying to make her see reason about the personal side of things. He just wants to find a way to heal the massive rift between his parents, because he hates seeing them like this. But in that moment, Carl has a sudden realization. He looks at his mother. Really looks at her, and he sees how exhausted she is, how broken she is, and he realizes that he is putting an incredibly unfair amount of pressure on her. He is asking the victim to fix the problem. He is demanding that she heal faster than she is capable of healing, just for his own comfort, and he feels terrible about it. And Diane is just done. Her emotional battery is completely drained. She can't do this anymore tonight. She can't talk about Jack. She can't talk about Jabot. She can't deal with Carl's well-meaning but suffocating pressure. She is just sad, profoundly sad. So she abandons her dinner. She stands up. She gives Carl a tight, emotional hug. A hug that says she loves him but she needs space. And she says goodbye for the evening, leaving Carl sitting alone at the table, staring at his uneaten food, realizing that this family crisis is way deeper and way more complicated than he thought, and that a simple dinner conversation is not going to magically glue his parents back together. It's just a tragic, messy situation all around, and honestly, my heart breaks for both of them, but especially Diane. Meanwhile, let's take a quick detour, because there is other madness happening in town. We gotta talk about Holden Novak and Kane Ashby. Because Kane has been plotting this massive, highly paid revenge mission against Victor Newman. He wants Victor destroyed, and he wanted Holden to be his mercenary, his weapon. Kane basically gave Holden a proposal, a massive job offer, but here's the twist. Holden actually rejects Kane Ashby's proposal. He turns it down, which is wild, because Holden needs money. But Holden is also completely obsessed with Claire Newman, and Claire loves her grandfather Victor. So Holden realizes that taking Kane's money to destroy Victor would instantly nuke any chance he has with Claire. It's a choice between the cash and the girl. And Holden, surprisingly, chooses the girl. At least for now. He walks away from Kane's offer, leaving Kane to figure out a new way to burn Victor to the ground. But back to the Abbots. So where does Jack go after getting publicly rejected by his wife? He goes to the one person who always listens, the moral compass of the Abbott family, Tracy Abbott. He heads over to see Tracy and just dumps all of his baggage on her. He confides in her about the absolute disaster at the GCC. He tells her how angry Diane is, how she won't even look at him, how the Patty Williams thing is just an insurmountable wall between them, and Jack is just wallowing. He is drowning in self-pity and guilt. He doesn't know what to do. He feels like he has tried everything, the apologies, the explanations, the begging. Nothing is working, and he is terrified that he has lost the love of his life forever because of one drug night on a boat. But Tracy is not going to let him just give up. That is not who Tracy is. She is the rock. He is the voice of reason. She listens to Jack. She validates his pain. But she also gives him a harsh reality check. She pushes him hard. She tells him that apologies are just words, and words are cheap right now. Diane doesn't need to hear he is sorry. She needs to see it. Tracy urges Jack to put in the actual work, to make a real, sustained effort to regain Diane's trust. Trust is not a switch you can just flip back on. It is a brick-by-brick process, and Jack needs to start laying those bricks. He needs to figure out a way to save his marriage through actions, not just desperate pleas at a restaurant. Tracy gives him the pep talk he desperately needs to hear. And you have to wonder what Jack's next move is going to be, because Tracy is right. He needs a grand gesture, or maybe he just needs consistency. He needs to prove to Diane that he is safe, that he is hers, and that Victor and Patty have no power over their bond. But how do you do that when Patty is still literally in town, causing chaos? Reminding Diane of the betrayal every time she breathes. Jack has to neutralize the Patty threat. He has to get her out of Genoa City, or at least out of Diane's orbit, if he wants any chance of following Tracy's advice, because right now, Patty is the living, breathing embodiment of Jack's failure, and as long as she is around, Diane's walls are going to stay up, high and fortified. So that's where we are at. A completely fractured Abbott family, Diane terrified for her job and her heart, Kyle caught in the miserable middle, trying to play referee and failing, Jack relying on Tracy to keep him from completely falling apart, and Holden Novak making surprising choices in the background that could shift the power dynamics in town. It is a lot. It is raw. It is messy. And it is classic Young and the Restless. I honestly don't know if Jack and Diane can survive this. The damage is so deep. The manipulation was so severe. But if anyone can guide Jack through this storm, it is Tracy. We will just have to keep watching to see if Jack can actually put her advice into practice, or if he will just make another desperate, foolish mistake. Stick around, guys. It's gonna be a bumpy ride. On my channel, I always seek content inspiration for each video by compiling short video clips to analyze and offer my personal opinions. This channel specializes in analyzing, theorizing, and discussing plot points in the Young and the Restless series from the perspective of a longtime fan. Through this, viewers can gain deeper, more objective, and more interesting perspectives. Subscribe to the channel to stay updated on the latest news about the Young and the Restless series.